Why Trump supporters can't think without being told what to think. There's a psychological reason for that. In 1962, psychologist Herman Witkin at Princeton University published research on why some people can think for themselves and some people cannot think for themselves. He called it field dependence. A field-dependent person has no internal way of telling if something is true or not. They can't look at a piece of information and decide on their own if something is right. They need someone else to tell them what's true, an authority figure. They need Fox News to tell them what to think. They need Trump to tell them who to hate. And they need their crazy uncle's Facebook group to tell them what's real. Without an external authority feeding them answers, their brains have nothing to work with. Without that authority, they would just sit there, empty, waiting for instructions. A field-independent person doesn't need any of that. They can hear something, evaluate the evidence, and decide for themselves if something is true. This is what progressives are, independent. It doesn't matter who said it. It doesn't matter what the group thinks. Progressive brains work on their own. They don't need an authority to tell them what to think. Witkin found that this type of not thinking is built into childhood. Parents who encourage questions produce children who can think critically. Parents who demand obedience and punish curiosity produce children that can't think for themselves. That's conservative culture. The authoritarian home doesn't just raise an obedient child. It raises a mentally dependent adult who will spend the rest of their adult lives looking for someone to obey. That's the MAGA cult base. Millions of adults who were never taught to think on their own and now can't function on their own without an authority figure telling them what is real. They're being fed every day the way livestock are being fed, on a schedule, from a trough, and they line up for it every single day. And you wonder why facts don't work on MAGA supporters? You're trying to show evidence to a person whose brain doesn't process evidence independently. Their brain is only able to process instructions from an authority figure. That's it. You're trying to reason with a person who was never given the tools to reason. Liberals don't have this problem because someone in their life taught them to think, or they learned it in college. And people who are taught to think don't need a televangelist or a con man or an algorithm to do the thinking for them. Every opinion a Trump supporter has came from someone else's mouth. The dumbest people in America somehow now think they're the smartest people in America. They think that sounding smart is the same as being smart. Poor little MAGA. These people have been the laughingstock of the world for a decade, and they still think people are laughing at someone else.